2025 is filled with a bunch of great movies coming out, but I was able to limit it down to just 10, so here are my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. 2025 has so much more movies coming out than 2024 did, but this is just my opinion and I would want to hear yours as well, so you can always leave yours down below in the comment section. And with that, let's begin. Now, I'm not one for honorable mentions, but all of these movies are basically tied for 10th, so they basically consider as honorable mentions. Elio. I'm always a fan of Pixar, and whenever there's a new project they release, I'm always ready for their new movie. Megan 2, I loved the first Megan movie, so I'm excited to see what they do with the sequel. Conjuring, the final movie in the Conjuring universe. I'm not a fan of the universe as a whole, but I'm a fan of the Conjuring movies. Saw 11. Now, this movie is most likely not coming out this year, but based from what Saw 10 was, Saw 11 could be another really good Saw movie. Insidious 6. Now, my excitement was brought down because of Insidious 5, but the first Insidious movie is a horror favorite of mine, and is one of the horror movies that actually made me eerie by the end of it. My actual number 10 is... we finally get to see Sam Wilson as Captain America in the movie. He was learning how to be Captain America in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but now, a few years later, we actually see Sam Wilson as Captain America. Now, the trailers have looked really promising for this movie, but the only thing that's really holding it back for me is everything behind the scenes. The reshoots, the test screenings, they're all not promising. And the last time we had a really good trailer for a movie that came out in February was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Trailers were great, but behind the scenes wasn't. And then the movie itself was bad. So I'm worried that will be the same case here. So I dimmed down my expectations a lot so I do not feel the same disappointment as I did for Quantumania. But if I just judge it from the trailers alone, it looks really promising. Hope it stays that way. Now, the Disney live-action remakes aren't the best, but this is a new studio. This is DreamWorks. We never seen what their live-action remakes look like because they never done any before. And the trailer they released basically captures everything the animated movie did, with the amazing score, the scene with Hiccup and Toothless meeting for the first time. Like, that scene's in there and looks great. We just don't know how this live-action remake will do. That is DreamWorks, so it could be entirely different. I still think the movie will be good because it's How to Train Your Dragon. You can do so much with that, even if it's not a foreshot of the animated movie or something entirely different. There is so much you can do with How to Train Your Dragon. I'm just curious to see what a new studio does with the live-action remakes. We're finally going to get a good Fantastic Four movie. From what we've seen from Comic-Con, what we've seen from all the images that they showed us, this looks like it's going grand. It looks like a new superhero movie that we never gotten before. And I'm curious to see what our first good movie of Fantastic Four is going to look like. Because this movie is going to be good. Everything we've seen, I trust Marvel. They're going to deliver on a Fantastic Four movie. Cast looks promising. Galactus is promising. Everything is promising. We just don't know an official story for me to get over the moon excited for it. I always loved the Fantastic Four characters. The movies never really delivered. And it brings back some memories that I do not want to visit again. But I have a feeling this movie is going to be everything that we want from it, and possibly more. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, also known as Dead Reckoning Part 2, is said to be the final Mission Impossible movie, and I'm curious to see where his entire journey finally ends. And we get to see in the trailer that they're delivering on this is the final reckoning. This is going to be the final movie. And the trailer is kind of showing that. And then we get more Tom Cruise stunts. Like him hanging off of a plane. That's just crazy to me. How do you even go through with that? And isn't he training for like a space movie right now? Like Tom Cruise. I always gotta love Tom Cruise for that. I always like these movies, and Dead Reckoning Cliffhanger was exciting, and I'm curious to see where they take it for Part 2, also known as The Final Reckoning. For Mickey 17, I don't know who the director is. I'm not excited for this movie because of the director. I'm excited because the trailer showed a very interesting premise. It's the original film, so they need to sell you on the trailer, and that's exactly what the trailer did. They sold me on it. It's just a teaser, but it kind of showed what this movie is. It's an interesting premise, but that's exactly why I'm excited for it. It's something new, it's something interesting. It intrigued me a lot. And I'm really looking forward to watching Mickey 17. Not because of the director, because the movie looked interesting. I'm excited to see what James Cameron does with this Avatar world, because it took him like 16 years to make Avatar Way of Water, and then now he has an idea for the entire franchise. We get our third movie now, we'll get 4 and 5 later. I'm excited to see what he decides to do with this whole franchise, because I'm invested in the world, I'm invested in these characters, and I'm curious just to see where he wants to continue the story. Because he said if this movie doesn't do well, people don't want a franchise, he'll end it here. But I hope that's not the case, because I want to see what he does with Avatar 4 and 5. I want to see what world he takes it to. I want to see how they expand the world, how they expand the characters, because I'm invested in this world and I'm excited to see where it continues on. Now the trailers we've been getting for this movie are very promising. We get our first team-up movie. Well, I count the Marvels as a team-up movie, but say what you will, this is kind of like our first official team-up movie in the MCU. We still don't know what the team is called. It could be the Thunderbolts, but most likely not. This seems like a movie that would have came out a while ago though, not like the end of Phase 5. I'm excited to see Red Guardian again, Elena again, Bucky again. I'm excited to see all these characters again and just see how they interact. We got to see Red Guardian and Bucky interaction on What If Season 3, and I love their interaction together, so I can't wait to see more of that in Thunderbolts. And the trailers all look promising. There's no drama behind the scenes that will bump my excitement down, like Captain America Brave New World, and we know enough about the story for me to be excited for it. It looks really promising so far, and I hope it delivers, and it looks like it will. Wicked for Good, also known as Wicked Part 2, is now going to be Act 2 of the Broadway. We got Act 1 last year, now we get Act 2 this year. Now I do have problems with the Broadway of Act 2, but I also had problems with Act 1. And the movie fixed those problems, and those problems are no longer there. For Act 2 of the movie, I feel like they're going to do the exact same thing. And when I rewind my memory back for when I watched Act 2, it has a lot of emotion in it. Act 2 is basically held together by emotion that it was set up in Act 1. And I feel like the movie, it has something there. We have 3 hours plus however long this movie is going to be. The movie has something there to deliver on that emotion. We could have a movie that was better than Part 1, with a bunch of emotion in it. I can't wait to see what they do with Wicked for Good. When I was rewatching movies for my Disney ranking, when I watched Zootopia, I remembered how much I love that movie. That movie is one of the top Disney movies for me. So now it's time we finally get a sequel to that movie. What they revealed to us so far at D23, the story about reptiles, I'm interested in that. We didn't really get any reptiles in the first movie, so seeing where they are in Zootopia, dealing with more of the theme of racism, because that's exactly what the first movie tackled, and to see them continue that theme makes it still feel connected. I'm curious to see how this does at the box office though, because the first movie made $1 billion, but I don't know if the general audience want a sequel, especially almost 10 years later. I could be wrong. There could be people like me, super excited for Zootopia too. But easily for number 1 for me is Superman. This is the start of the DCU, officially. Creature Commandos, Peacemaker Season 1, whatever you want to say the start was, Superman kind of shows us what this world already looks like. It's going to show us what is already built, rules of the world, rules the world follows, and we finally get a new live-action Superman. The trailer that was shown is extremely promising. Doesn't really show anything, but just shows how powerful this movie is going to be. Score-driven. It's not going to feel like a James Gunn movie. James Gunn himself has said this movie's going to have serious tone. James Gunn made Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best MCU movies. So for those people doubting James Gunn, I just don't understand. Do you really not like a single one of those superhero movies? Because James Gunn himself said this is not going to be a funny movie. This is his most serious movie yet. James Gunn has said that himself. How do you not believe in James Gunn? Superman is going to mark the start of the DCU and see if the universe will continue after this. And based from the positive buzz going around, just based from that teaser trailer. It seems like it's going to continue. Anyways, that was my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. Thank you guys for watching. Maybe you'll be interested in me reviewing my most anticipated movies of 2024 and seeing if my predictions were right, or some other video down here. But anyways, thanks for watching.